Hi guys, welcome to the Liberty Bunker. Is this the year that the British Broadcasting Corporation finally dies? Let's take a look at a headline here. It's from The Express. BBC TV licence row. George Galloway demands end to fee system extortion amid review plan. BBC TV licence fees cannot be allowed to survive in the new century, and the government should ensure Britons are not threatened with prison if they fail to pay into the corporation, George Galloway says. You know, a lot of people think this TV licensing is a left-wing versus right-wing issue. This is only a case because in the last few years, BBC have a vicious attack on the Tory government, albeit the Tory government aren't particularly right-wing. They've obviously been very anti-Brexit. Again, Brexit isn't really a left-wing, right-wing issue. However, there's probably slightly more people on the right that favour Brexit, those that don't. So it's kind of been manipulated that it looks like this left-wing versus right-wing issue. But your old school socialists, the good socialists, the honest socialists, I don't believe in socialism. I disagree with about 90% of things that George Galloway says. However, we have a common cause that we want to see the end of the BBC. George Galloway no doubt wants the TV license to end because it's it's an unfair tax on everybody. It's an unfair tax on everybody, but especially the poor. It's very biased. They have their own agenda, the establishment agenda. They're not really going to agree with the things that George Galloway says. George Galloway has to air his views on RT because he's not really going to get a platform on mainstream British media, which is unfortunate because I disagree with a lot of things George Galloway says, but he's certainly an interesting character. So we've got this common front at the moment where your good, honest, old school lefties, of which there are few in the UK. Your modern lefty tends to be somewhat of a radical in a momentum kind of way, but then they're also pro the establishment, like they're pro the BBC. But when the BBC fails, it's going to be interesting who it takes down as well. So this is from the Mail Online. BBC admits it spends £139,000 a year on buying The Guardian. That's 1,300 copies a week. Now, The Guardian newspaper doesn't really make much profit, so the BBC has spent £139,000 a year effectively subsidising The Guardian newspaper, which doesn't have a particularly high circulation, nationwide. The Guardian recorded first operating profit since 1998. It's about 21 years without making an operating profit, and it was only a slim profit. The Guardian recorded an operating profit of 0.8 million for 2018-19, the first such profit in 2 decades, and the culmination of one of the most significant turnarounds in recent British media history. Well, I would say £800,000 isn't particularly a huge amount when a quarter of that is coming just from selling newspapers to the BBC. So when the BBC fails, it's going to be quite interesting what other dominoes may fall behind it. And I think if we lost the BBC and we lost the Guardian, I think that's going to be certainly a good thing for free thinking in the UK. Both of these institutions are quite stifled in their thinking. They're very much. I'm not saying that a lot of I read the Telegraph online. I don't subscribe to it. I'm not interested in really paying for many media sources, but I'm not saying the Telegraph is much better than the Guardian. But if we lose the BBC, we lose the Guardian, it'd be a good thing, I think, for political thinking here in the UK. Both those institutions are quite stuck in their ways. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. If you're watching this video and you're against the BBC, what things can you do to help advance the death of this corrupt institution? As I see the BBC, they don't fulfil their royal charter. There's a lot of sketchy stuff that has happened over the years and may be continuing to still be happening. Reference things like Jimmy Savile, shocking allegations, other allegations that who knows what else is under the carpet. If something like that happened at Coca-Cola, I like Coca-Cola, but I would stop using their product if such revelations came out. Even if it was, 30, 40, 50 years after the fact, I would stop using their product out of protest. So, if you're against things like Jimmy Savile and you don't think the whole thing's been cleared up correctly, or even the damage done at the time is enough, I think, in my opinion, not to pay a TV license, stop paying your TV license. It's so easy to do. Yourself an Amazon Fire Stick. Don't watch live broadcast or iPlayer. You're essentially good to go. Talk to people, get this message out there. This is going to be a big year. People like George Galloway are doing a heavy push. People like myself, maybe centre-right, centrist, classic liberals, whatever you want to define yourself as. We're also having a big push. I think things like the Taxpayer Alliance are pushing. This is a good year for advancing the battle against the BBC. Share these sort of videos on social media. Put on social media how easy it is to stop paying your TV license. For every TV license that gets cancelled, we're one step closer to seeing this beast fail. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Drop me a comment in the comments box below, and I'll see you in the next video.